Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. So today, like I alluded to, I said that this is going to be a classic episode. The reason why is because we're talking about how to create SMART goals. Now, back in 1981, there was a corporate planner named George Doran. And George wrote this paper and taught this method called, how to create SMART goals. And he was using this to get people to understand how to achieve an actual goal. Kimberline knows all about this, don't you, Kimberline? Welcome, by the way. So SMART goals is an acronym. That's all it is. SMART is an acronym. It starts with specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable. Sometimes they're interchangeable, relevant, and most importantly, time-based. Now, you've probably heard this before. It's everywhere. It's been around. How many years now? 40 years? Can you believe that 1981 was 40 years ago? 42 years ago? Yeah, good grief. So crazy. Anyway, so the SMART goal acronym has been around for a while, and everybody took off with George's idea. We all use it. I use it. It's mentioned here in the beginning of the Take Back Your Life journal. So what is a SMART goal? Let's break it down so that you can understand it a little bit. We start with specific. That is, what do you want to accomplish specifically? So you don't say, for example, like the number one, what do you think the number one New Year's resolution is? What do you think it is? I'm just going to sit here and wait while y'all type it on in. But I'm going to bet that you guess this. I'm going to guess that you guess this, because if you guess this, that just means you're just a genius. Is all. And this is so exactly, Jennifer got it. You don't even have to bother anymore. There it is. Juanita knows too. Everybody knows. Lose weight is the number one goal, far and away, year after year after year after year. And why do you think so many people don't attain that goal? What do you think? What do you think the problem is? They want it. Otherwise, why do it? Why put it out there? Well, first of all, usually it's a New Year's resolution. And by this Friday, the good eating and the good intentions are gone. Right now, Weight Watchers and all those other people and gyms and everything, they're packed, they're busy, they're over. And then in March, it's a ghost town. People, now they're looking for new ways to drum up business because people are gone. They're not into it. They're not doing it. Right, Joanne, they don't plan for it. But when you are in the place of specific, this isn't, by the way, a how thing, because that's where people get hung up. I want to lose weight, but how? And then they go to the how. Oh, I'm going to go do this program or get the Marie Osmond food on TV or do this whole thing or this program, buy the books, get the guru, blah, 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 blah. Right? So what happens to all of that? Get all fired up, put all the money behind it, do all the things, and then nothing happens because there's no plan, there's no intentions. Kimberline, good. And there's no specificity because losing weight is just, okay, what does that mean? That could mean I need to lose 3 ounces to be at my goal weight, right? We don't have a number. Is it 100 pounds, 50 pounds, 30, 10, 5? What is it? You got to get specific on it. And I'll tell you what, trust me on this, the hows are so much better put off till later. You don't need to go get all the programs, do all the thing, and buy the crazy food that Marie Osmond sells. You don't need to do that. Is not a how. That's just a hope and a dream. And that's just like, okay, it's done. Now here we go. Now what do I do? Specifics mean that you're going to get into the weeds a little bit, using your why to create what it is that you want. Specificity is very specific. Funny how that works, right? That means that you're going to get in there and you're going to start figuring out, I want to, at the end of 12 weeks, have X, Y, and Z. This is the number. There are numbers involved in this. There is time involved in this. There's all kinds of things. But the specific means that we have to get into really the deeper why of this whole thing. Is it a burning, hot, desired issue, problem to be solved, or thing that you want? Those are the things. So when we get into those kind of specifics, it just makes all the sense in the world. And if you were a pilot and you said you're going to go on a trip, you're going to know exactly what airport you're starting at and what airport you're going to get to, and you're going to know what you're going to need to do in between while you're flying that plane, aren't you? There's going to be altitudes there. There's going to be shifts. There's going to be, there's some turbulence, warning the people, right? Anybody ever been in turbulence in an airplane? Have you ever had any turbulence in your life? What's your fallback plan? What do you do? How do you get through these things? You just say, oh, that's it, I quit? Or are you like Juanita and you have grit, not quit? See, these things are, the more we think through these things and the more that we're prepared for these things, the more present they become in our lives. The more we are present with them, we're with them daily and doing them daily, and an action plan somehow miraculously gets assigned to them. You know, we start to get creative. We start to put together things. But I'll tell you, if it doesn't have a hot, desired why underneath all of it, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. That why is so crucial. The why drives the whole shooting match. You understand that? Then there's measurable. Now, you can't, if you don't measure it, you're not going to grow it. What's measured is what succeeds, right? I have right over here on my board, if you don't measure, you're not going to win. If you don't measure, you're not going to get there. If you don't know where you're starting, it's a guess. It's just a wild guess. And when we have measurable goals, it makes it a metric, right? A metric and not just some loosey-goosey dream. And that's important because we can measure that. We can see, we understand. I mean, how many people have baked, We need the measurements. So you've got your measurable goals going, give me some numbers. Give me some numbers. I need numbers to make this work. I want to lose weight. Okay, give me some numbers. I want to lose 25 pounds in 12 weeks by such and such a day, or whatever, 10 pounds, whatever it is. And that's going to put you in the place of a little sense of urgency too, isn't it? That's later into the time stuff. But this is what measurable does. Measurable says, give me some numbers. And when we start to put numbers to it, it starts to form into something cohesive that we can understand and we can plan for and we can do something with. And then there's achievable or attainable. I really like the idea of calling it attainable as opposed to achievable, because our achievement levels, I don't think we've ever really tapped them all. I mean, have you? I know I haven't. Today, my whole thing is an hour a day I can do, because I have 10-minute stacks, and today was arms day. I like arms day better than legs day. Legs day kills me, but so I had the 10-minute stacks and did all of that. And I said, okay, so I added it all up. That was the 10-minute stacks. There were 4 things. That was 40 minutes. And I said, okay, so I need 20 minutes. I'll just do a bike ride, right? And there's an instructor named Sam Yo that I love because he plays music that I love. And I accidentally hit the 31-minute one instead of the 20-minute one. And I was not happy with that because I said, no, it's 20 minutes. But once you're on the bike, you can't quit, because gosh, Juanita, right? Pinky's up, honey. I have grit, not quit, even though I was going to go an hour and 10 minutes. Oh, well, it's just the way it is. But it was, believe it or not, achievable. It was achievable, and it was also attainable. It's an A for achievable or attainable. So when you think about this, you got to ask yourself, okay, attainable. 20 pounds, let's go 20, because 24 is like, that's some real stuff there. But 20 in 12 weeks, piece of cake, right? It really is. 20 in 12 weeks. So what does that mean? What skills do I need to put in? What things need to happen in order to make this achievable goal achieved by the end of 12 weeks? Because that's what we do in Take Back Your Life. We do everything in 12-week increments because our brain understands the shorter time period than the whole year. And that's not to say, if you said, well, but Leanne, I need to lose more than that for the year. Okay, then the next 12 weeks we'll add the more. And then the next 12, we work in short-term goals with the long-term goal sitting nicely on the shelf. We still dust it off and we still admire it, but it's not just sitting there making us dawdle. The short-term goals make us go, okay, it's time to get on the stick because we have this to achieve in this period of time. If you were planning a wedding, you wouldn't say, oh, we'll get it all done the week before a wedding. Heck no, you're a year out planning and doing, and you're getting the place together and you're getting the caterer lined up, got the flowers, got the dress, got the this, that, and the other thing. Any of you planned a wedding lately? I have. So it's got to be like that. And achievability means that skills are necessary for this. You're going to be bringing in skills. You're going to be bringing in a mindset that says, I can do this. Because if your mindset's trash, then you're going to say, as soon as the first little bumpity bump comes along, you're going to say, that's it, I'm done. Give it all up. Because I'm telling you, there will be a bumpity bump or 2 or 10. There will be an obstacle. There will be something that gets in your way, just sort of like an annoying fly in your face, or worse. But do we give up or do we stay the course? Well, if our mindset is on straight, because mindset sets the tone. The mindset needs to be in place. Without mindset, without the correct mindset, that is, it's just plain not going to happen. If you give up easily, if you're telling yourself it's just too hard or I can't do it or I'm overwhelmed, then you will be overwhelmed and you won't do it. And it'll just be another frustrating moment where your dreams are just dashed against the rocks. So getting that mindset correct, big time. It's a thing. And also your attitude. Your mindset creates the attitude, by the way. And you can go up or you can go down or you can take people with you or you can, whatever it is. This attitude, though, is really the thing that's going to help float your boat. Relevant is the next one. And relevant is something that you have to do and really important. And it's probably going to sound just a little bizarre, but it's really crucial. And that is this goal relevant to where I am right now in my life? Is it? Here's the deal. Does it fit the season of my life right now? Does it fit my purpose right now? I'm a firm believer, and I've said this so many times and called out all of my lovelies who are taking care of small children, all of my lovelies who are taking care of elderly parents. It's the same kind of a workload. It's the same kind of emotional rottenness sometimes, and we feel a little overwrought by this, and we feel there's a lot there, and it requires so much of us. We can't check out. We can't numb out maybe at night. And that's a lot of my folks do this. They'll stay up way late at night trying to grab some time for themselves only to feel terrible the next day and to start the whole cycle over again. But one of the things that helps to help keep us clear and on purpose is to understand that right now where we are we've got to create goals that support our right now, here and now. Because if maybe someday you might have an idea that, I'd really like to own my own business, or I'd like to do this, or I'd like to do that, or I'd like to, travel the world, and you're taking care of your elderly parent, likely not going to happen right now. So you put that maybe on your vision board for another time, but your current goals need to revolve around what your season is right now, what your purpose is right now. And by gosh, if we're going to get into the A of the attainable, the attitude part, embracing that, loving that, and being all in, because it is such a short season. It really is. When you're in it, it's like having little kids, at the time, it's so much. And then suddenly you're going, wait a minute, how are they graduating from high school? How'd they grow up so quickly? What happened? As I'm telling you about this, I have a 31-year-old and a 30-year-old. So, how did that happen? How'd they get out of their 20s? Do you know how old that makes me feel? It's funny, but it's also, we get this notion that when we're creating goals, that we somehow need to explode the world and make the whole thing happen. We don't. What we need to do is bring it into where our lives are for the moment. This is how we get to live our lives right now, today, vibrantly, right? This is when we figure out that as we're going through all this stuff, ooh, I might have to lose an attitude, or shoot, my mindset's not going to support me on all of this. That's why we're talking about this. This is important stuff. And this relevancy of keeping it, bound to your place on this earth right now, where you are and what's necessary, absolutely crucial. Otherwise, you'll be grossly unhappy and always looking toward the future or looking back into the past, and not living here in the present, embracing the day and looking for opportunities for ways to spark joy in your life. Because we can always do that when we make a decision for that. The last one is time bound. So you've heard, and I said this yesterday, a goal without a deadline is only a dream. And that's true, because if we don't have deadlines, then when does it get done? Anybody go to school and your teacher said, and we're having a term paper, and the term paper is blah, 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 and we don't have a date when it's due? Anyone? Not me. No, siree, Bob. I always had it, and I was Miss Procrastination. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna lie. I always put it off to the last minute and somehow pulled it off. I always did. And I will tell you, that is just no way to live. The things that does to your adrenals, the cortisol flowing out of your body, is just ridiculous. We don't have to put ourselves through that anymore. But when we understand time bound, we can be appreciative of what the time is. SMART goals are driven by time. This is why we do 12 weeks. We got that from the 12-week year. You can look that book up if you want to on Amazon. I read it. It was a really good book. It was a man wrote it for business people, though. Can I just say, you can see the overlay, though. But the concept of 12 days and the concept of concentrating your efforts into these 12-week periods, it just changed everything. I started doing this back in 2017, and it completely changed the whole trajectory of how I started doing business, and in life and in business as well. I felt the preciousness of time by using 12 weeks. Oh, did you see exactly what Debbie just put out there? She lost 75 pounds with a goal of 5 pounds at a time. That is a great, and congratulations to you, Debbie. So proud of you. But that is that's it right there in a nutshell. That is using it, going 5 pounds at a time. And that's very honoring with this whole system. So, I had this this always happens to me too when I'm exercising or I'm meditating. I'm always I'm like running around with notes. And so I wrote. I guess I don't have it here, but oh yeah, I did. So I had 3x5 cards, and I came up with this idea. This was while I was on the bike. I wrote Sunday School, because you know how some isn't that cute, but and all I would have with this is that goals aren't Sunday school. This is their takeaway school. What do I need to take away so that I can create that someday that I really, really want? Because someday doesn't happen ever, does it? Someday isn't constrained by time. Sunday's just kind of out there somewhere, you know? It's sort of Snow Whitey. Someday my prince will come. Well, now, Snow White, we have dating apps. Now we have all these different things out there. We have different ways of doing things. We have goals now, Snow White. You don't have to just sit there and hope and clean house with a bunch of dwarves and dancing birds. Life's changed. Life has really changed. So, when I say take away school, we have to take away anything that doesn't serve our goals anymore. And we have to look at it and say, what's holding me back? What's holding me back? Why do I still have this in my life? If it's holding me back, if it's not giving me the freedom that I need to go further and step into the greatness that is God's promise for me. You're here on purpose and for purpose. That's pretty great calling, I would say. Pretty great calling. So three things to close this up. Remember that goals help to anchor our desires, right? They anchor them, and they give us a sense of direction, and they help us to clarify our purpose, because that's what we're here for, is to figure it out. We're just not random human beings. We are definitely here on purpose. We're planted where we are. Everything about it is just completely custom and according to plan. Everything. Number two, they help us to see the big picture. A big picture analysis every once in a while is something that we need to do, but that big picture should be a little bit inspiring, a little jaw-dropping, and help us to see deeper meaning of why it is that we want to do the things that we want to do. Remember what I said about the how? The hows come later. If you can really put together just this strong emotional case for what it is that you want, and you can go to that feeling instead of focusing on why you can't, or it's too hard, or I don't know how, it's amazing how the needle moves over to the side of actually getting it done, because we've got all of this stuff in mind. We've got a goal. It's anchored. It's ready to rock and roll. And remember what I said about the rising tide lifting all boats? Well, it's not a boat at sea. It's a boat that's anchored, a boat with goals. And that could be you at any point. And the last thing is, I will say, and at least my goals are, they're motivating. They are so motivating, because now you have written down, by the way, goals need to be written down. You've written down basically a handbook, a user manual on how to make a better you. There's nothing wrong with the current you, but we all want to do a little bit better every single year, be a better version of ourselves, a little bit better, a little stronger, a little bit more capable, a little bit, maybe a new skill set. That's being a little bit better. That's not saying, you're no good unless you got this. Not at all. But when we're better version of ourselves, we're more engaged with our world. We're more engaged with our lives. And we're just not sitting there killing time and just saying, oh, well, whatever will be, will be. It's not Groundhog Day in a woman's life who keeps goals. It's actually an exciting day. Anyway, that is going to help you. That's going to help you get things going. And SMART goals are for all women who have a desire, a hot desire to live a more vibrant life. I hope you found that helpful. Again, if you have any questions, you can always shoot an email over to us support@savingdinner.com. We're always happy to help. Bless you all. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your day. Peace be with you. I'll see you tomorrow for Wise Women's Wednesday. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.